Folks, Tuesday is Digital Day. On this programme, delighted to be joined by the Professor of Cybersecurity at the Ulster University Magee. That's Kevin Curran. Kevin, always a pleasure. Good afternoon to you. Kevin, when I note, as you note, that Vodafone are pledging to deploy 5G across rural Northern Ireland, there'll be a lot of ones halfway up hills and mountains rolling their eyes. We've heard it all before. Or is this different, Kevin?
Yes, I mean, they're promising to roll out, again, to 98% of Northern Ireland within 10 years, that everyone would have 5G within, apart from 2% of the population. It is, of course, and it has to be taken with a pinch of salt, because Vodafone merged with Three last year to become the biggest network operator in the UK, really. And the Competition and Markets Authority are still looking into that, because they're worried, of course, that consumer pricing and question the data here. So it could be looking like Vodafone are trying to play the kind card here, in other words, to keep the CMA off their back again. But nonetheless, again, that they are one of the big operators again. And at least what they're doing is they're rolling out what we call 5G Standalone, 5G SA, and that's pure 5G, because unfortunately, just because you see the 5G bar on your phone, you might think you're getting pure 5G, but quite a lot is piggybacking over 4G. So really, it's just 5G from you to the base station, and of course, depending on what the other person's using. So it's kind of a pseudo 5G. But the 5G that they plan to roll out in this case to 98% of Northern Ireland within the next 10 years is 5G SA. So generally our 5G would improve. And of course that would give us broadband speeds on the go as well.
But where's the money, Kevin? Because there's less money to be made in less populated areas. That's obvious. Approximately 75%, I believe, of Northern Ireland's rural area landmass is a total non-5G spot. What's in this for Vodafone?
Obviously, but that's one of the things that governments can do for us. Again, that they can come along and say, look at, in other words, the 5G network, when they were auctioned off, the 4G especially and the 3G years ago, that meant a lot of money for the government. In other words, and the government comes along and it says, okay, and it doesn't necessarily pick who gives the most money. In other words, that they also have commitments. In other words, that they're not going to let O2 come along and just buy the 5G license for, say, Northern Ireland, and then go ahead and all they do is install it in all the commercial premises and in the rural areas, or in the urban areas as well. In other words, the government come along and hold these mobile operators to account, saying, okay, we will give you this we will give you this license here for this period again, but you have to roll out and be shown to have rolled out to X% of the rural population. So again, that's the great thing about having it. One of the positives of having an oversight from government.
Gosh. Listen, Kevin, a poignant one maybe with which to end, and this one really made me think when you sent us to it, right? You sent it across. We go to a funeral, right? And sometimes the most meaningful thing about the funeral is maybe a lovely photograph on the front of the wee running order, the wee service order, or maybe some photographs of the deceased, around the edge. And in principle, Kevin, it's not a million miles away from this, but once again, it's AI. And tell us about this chap anyway, Michael Bummer.
Yeah, Michael's wife passed away, so he decided then that, of course, that because he's in the tech space as well, he would build a startup company which would be able to take her voice and allow him to interact with her, and a bit like we're using the internet and trying to get results back again. But again, in the last year or so, we've seen this generation, Gen AI, taking over the world, where it's so good with answers and, of course, voice now. So you're able literally to communicate with a bot, but the bot would reply to you in the voice of your partner, your loved one who has passed away.
So recreating his voice with artificial intelligence. So basically you can still have this, and I'm not being maudlin, Kevin, but because you just be constantly staggered at the quality when these things start a bit clumsy, and then you're going, my God, it looks amazing. So you could be chatting to great granny or great granda for years to come, and it's almost the real thing.
You could be, and also it's depending, if you had a lot of video of your partner, especially also if they'd written personal things, but generally video, you can feed that in again, so that the answers become not just taken from the ether as such, that you literally are, that the model itself is building on the knowledge and the way your partner spoke things, and even their insights as well. So depending on how much of a person's life is recorded before they passed, your ancestors or your loved ones after you leave could have very, very deep and meaningful conversations with you who has passed on, Again, of course, depending on how much you've left in this earth here, that can be mined by artificial intelligence again to give literally a very lifelike response.
Another chap in North Carolina says he's going to be doing the simulated conversations with characters he created to imitate 3 of his daughters. He was losing one of his eldest girls, but basically he says it'll help with the grief to some degree. And Kevin, it's funny because it changed with me, because you get those wee sort of films that Facebook sometimes coughs up sort of unannounced. Oh, this was London last year, or this was, Stendhal 4 years ago. And you go, oh God, I remember that. And people love that stuff. It's not dissimilar.
No, exactly. And of course, it's lovely. I mean, photos are the most precious thing you have, but it's also lovely to hear your partner's voice and hear them in video as well. Of course it is. So anything, in all of this help, I don't see this as a bad thing. I mean, it's gonna, it's gonna roll out. You can't stop the juggernaut that's happening at the moment as such. But anything that gives you comfort, I'll take that.
Kevin, very, very interesting stuff. I see Matthias Meitzler from Tübingen University says some may be taken aback or even scared. It's as if the voice from the afterlife is sounding again. Gosh almighty. Kevin, thanks as always. Standing in for Emma this week is Professor of Cybersecurity with the Ulster University at Magee. That's Professor Kevin Curran. Folks, our first half is almost done. If you're just joining us, I did a wee special today down at the Culmore community. We're looking at the Swifts down there and innovation and technology, trying to sort of fool the Swifts into nesting in that part of the parish all over again. Folks, in 10 minutes, I'll be back with the most remarkable story of a trapped goat up a 100-foot tower in Donegal. A listener wants to direct us to election posters, or the lack of them. And I want to talk about electric vehicles. Are they up, down, thereabouts, roundabout, or what? Jim will be in, as always, to talk to us about matters motoring. Folks, I'll be back in 10 minutes, but for now, the time is 1 o'clock.
On BBC Sounds, your radio, TV and smart speaker, this is The Northwest at 1 on BBC Radio Foyle.